If you have to put someone on a pedestal, put teachers. They are society's heroes. The duties of a teacher are neither few nor small, but they elevate the mind and give energy to the character. The best teachers are those who show you where to look, but don't tell you what to see. Better than 1,000 days of diligent study is one day with a great teacher. Your heart is slightly bigger than the average human heart, but that's because you're a teacher. Teachers can change lives with just the right mix of chalk and challenges. Teaching is the greatest act of optimism. One child, one teacher, one book, and one pen can change the world. Students, don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. It is not what is poured into a student that counts, but what is planted. Teachers have 3 loves: love of learning, love of learners, and the love of bringing the first 2 loves together. The art of teaching is the art of assisting discovery. Education doesn't just make us smarter, it makes us whole. Teaching kids to count is fine, but teaching them what counts is best. I am indebted to my father for living, but to my teacher for living well. A teacher affects eternity. He can never tell where his influence stops. I like a teacher who gives you something to take home to think about besides homework. I have learned silence from the talkative, toleration from the intolerant, and kindness from the unkind. Yet, strange, I am ungrateful to those teachers. A good teacher can inspire hope, ignite the imagination, and instill a love of learning. A teacher who is attempting to teach without inspiring the pupil with a desire to learn is hammering on cold iron. Good teachers know how to bring out the best in students. An investment in knowledge pays the best interest. Change is the end result of all true learning. Education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. The roots of education are bitter, but the fruit is sweet. The more that you read, the more things you will know. The more that you learn, the more places you'll go. Live as if you were to die tomorrow. Learn as if you were to live forever. The learning process continues until the day you die. Education is not the filling of a pail, but the lighting of a fire. Develop a passion for learning. If you do, you will never cease to grow. Education is not preparation for life. Education is life itself. They know enough who know how to learn. Education is the ability to listen to almost anything without losing your temper or your self-confidence. They cannot stop me. I will get my education if it is in the home, school, or any place. Education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world. He who opens a school door closes a prison. Education is the ability to meet life situations. Learning starts with failure. The first failure is the beginning of education. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. Education consists mainly of what we have unlearned. If you have to put someone on a pedestal, put teachers. They are society's heroes.
Good evening, everybody. Could you please confirm if I'm audible? Just put a yes in the chat. All right, thank you. Good evening once again. Thank you all for registering and attending this national level online faculty development program on outcome-based education and application of generative AI in teaching and research. which is organized by the DST Curie AI Center of Sri Padmavati Mahila Visvavidyalayam, SPMVV University, Tirupati, in association with IPSR Solutions Limited. Today, we would like to welcome Dr. Mendes Jacob, who is a professor and director, MCA, Marine College, Kottayam Autonomous, and he's the MD and CEO of IPSR Solutions Limited. He'll be the resource person for today. And we would like to welcome all the FTP participants of today. Now, about this FTP, this is a one-week FTP program with live timings from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And this is the third day of our FTP. Please note that the registration for the LMS is still open. Now, the fee for the LMS registration or the LMS access and processing of certificates is rupees 400. All the participants who have paid the processing fee will receive the LMS access, the video recording for all the days, and the provision to download your FTP completion certificate. The procedure for receiving the certificate will be informed to you towards the end of the FTP. If any of you are yet to make the payment, you can make the payment of rupees 400 to the account details I will shortly put in the chat. If you are unable to attend any of the live sessions, they will be available in the LMS. We have shared the LMS access details through email to those who have shared the payment proof in WhatsApp till today, 4 p.m. Those who have shared the payment proof in WhatsApp later, after that, will receive the LMS access details later by email or by tomorrow. If you have any trouble in attending the WebEx online session, you could join the YouTube live session. The link I will put in the chat now. So if you face any issue with WebEx, you can join with the YouTube live link. My name is Sijin Jacob George. I'm working as Global Relations Manager with IPSR Solutions Limited, and I will be the event moderator. Now, coming on to today's session, today's technical session will be on mapping of outcomes, calculation of attainment, and analytical reports, AI-assisted assessments. These topics will be taken by Dr. Mendes Jacob, Professor and Director, MCA Marine College, Kottayam Autonomous. Dr. Mendes Jacob is an academician and an entrepreneur with 35 plus years of experience and is the former Director of School of Applicable Mathematics, MG University. He has acted as chairman and member of many academic bodies constituted by the university. He is also a member of academic and administrative bodies of many autonomous colleges, engineering colleges, and business schools. He is a PhD in operations research and has to his credit a number of national and international publications. He is a research guide of Lincoln University, Malaysia. He has served as a resource person for many national and international seminars and conferences in mathematics, management, and computer applications. He has organized, conducted, and served as resource person for a number of faculty development programs, including UGC-sponsored refresher courses. His areas of interest include national education policy, outcome-based education, accreditation, etc. He is also the CEO of IPSR Solutions Limited, an IT company supporting higher education institutions in the implementation of outcome-based education and innovative teaching, learning, and assessment strategies. Over to you, sir.
Yes, Eden, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Thank you. Once again, welcome to this faculty development program. This is the third day of our FDP. So for the last 2 days, we were discussing about the basic concepts like Bloom's taxonomy, then the architecture of OB, how to design the outcomes, POs, PSOs, and course outcomes. So today we will discuss how to map the outcomes, and after that, how to calculate the attainment of outcomes. That's also very important. Then we will discuss about some analytical reports. Once if we implement outcome-based education, in addition to calculating the attainment of outcomes, we can have some analytical reports which will be useful for accreditation purpose. Then, if possible, today we will discuss about the AI-assisted assessments. Otherwise, we will do it on Saturday, last day. And the coming days, we will have sections on AI in teaching and research. And also there will be a section by Dr. Thomas Verghese about the case studies or best practices in implementing OB with his experience in the Canadian universities. So this will be the schedule for the coming 3 days. So today we will discuss how to map the outcomes. Share the presentation. Just 1 minute. Okay. Hope my screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we will start where Dr. Sunil Job has stopped yesterday. So after designing the outcomes, now the next process is the mapping. Okay. So there are 2 levels of mapping. One is the level 1 mapping, the other one level 2 mapping. So in level 1 mapping, we will be mapping the course outcomes to the respective POs and PSOs. So we have course outcomes for every course. Probably if we have 1 course, then average we may have 5 course outcomes, 4 or 5 or 6 course outcomes. So each of these course outcomes we can map with the POs and PSOs. That is level 1 mapping. Level 2 mapping is the activities or assessments that we will map with the corresponding course outcomes. Okay. So if you have n number of course outcomes combined, if you combine all the courses, then every course has got 5 or 6 course outcomes. So in total, we may have for a UG program around 150 course outcomes, because we may have 30 plus courses. 13 to 5, that means around 150 course outcomes we may have for a 3-year UG program. So all these course outcomes we have to map with, all these course outcomes we have to map with POs and PSOs, and the activities, the learning activities, then the assessments, everything we can map with the respective COs. So we will see how the mapping can be done. First of all, how we will assess the attainment. Okay. The final assessment is done by the estimation of program outcome and program specific outcomes, which will serve as a profile of the students' competencies. So POs and the PSOs already we have discussed. These are actually the competencies of the student. And we can calculate the attainment of POs and PSOs. That is the final stage. And POs and PSOs are estimated from the component of COs related to the respective PO and PSO, because each of the COs will be mapping with a certain number of POs and PSOs. So POs and PSOs will be calculated from the component of COs. COs are estimated from the component learning outcome of the activity related to that course. For each course, we may have some learning activities as well as there are assessments. So COs we can directly calculate, the attainment of COs we can directly calculate by through the learning activities or assessment activities. So here the first step is to determine the mapping of the related components and determine the strength of mapping between lower order and higher order outcomes. Lower order outcomes means the COs, higher order means POs and PSOs. Okay, we will discuss it with an example, then it will be more clear to all of you. Now, to start with, we need a standardized mapping scale for outcome-based education. A standardized mapping scale means this can be customized institution-wise. For example, here we have a 4-point scale. You can see the weightages 0, 1, 2, and 3. It's a 4-point scale. And you can see if the attainment is 0%, then nil attainment or the weightage is 0. Similarly, for the interval 1 to 50%, it can be low attainment and the weightage is 1. 51 to 70%, moderate, and the weightage is 2, whereas 71 to 100%, it's significant and weightage is 3. This can be customized for every institution. If you want a 5-point scale, that is possible. Or if higher than that, some institutions, they go for a 6-point scale or 7-point scale, that also is possible. And the interval, you can change accordingly. So all this depends on the policy of the institution. So when we prepare the OB manual, when we implement outcome-based education, the proper way is to start with an OB manual. You have to prepare an OB manual where you can mention the policies of the institution, what all things, what are the policies of the institution, and in that case, you can have define your own standardized mapping scale. Okay, this is only an example to calculate the attainment. I'm only for this demo purpose, I'm using this standardized mapping scale. Okay. Now, how this mapping can be done? I will just give an example. See, for course outcome, we have an action verb. Every course outcome we will design starting from the action verb from Bloom's taxonomy, and there will be a learning domain. Okay, starting with the action verb, then there is a learning domain. And every activity or a question, for example, if you are having an assignment or if you have conducted an exam, the question also will start with an action verb from Bloom's taxonomy. So it depends on the learning level, the action verb may vary. And there will be an action verb and a learning statement for every question. Okay. Now we need to map these activities or questions to the course outcome. Now, for that case, just we will start with an example. Suppose, for example, in the first day, you have a course, a section on Bloom's taxonomy. Now, assuming that Bloom's taxonomy is a course, I have designed an outcome. This is one of my outcomes on Bloom's taxonomy. On completion of this course, the participants will be able to apply the Bloom's taxonomy in framing questions. So this is my course outcome. Okay. So what is the outcome? On completion of this course, the participants will be able to apply the Bloom's taxonomy in framing questions. Now, what is the level of this course outcome? Can somebody suggest? Can put it in the chat box. What is the level of this outcome? We have 6 levels starting from K1, K2. K1 means it's a remember level. K2 means it's a understanding level. Then apply level, that is K3. Okay. So the level of this course outcome is K3. It's obvious because we are applying Bloom's taxonomy for framing questions. Okay. So the level of my course outcome is apply level. Now, if this is my course outcome, for attaining this outcome, I may have different activities, learning activities, and to assess whether the students or the participants have attained this outcome, I need to have assessments. Suppose I am conducting an exam, that is an assessment. And one of my questions in the question paper is this one. Explain the different levels of learning in cognitive level. So this is one of my questions in the question paper. I'm trying to assess the students whether they have attained the course outcome, the outcome. This is the course outcome. Okay. So what is the level of this question? What is the level of this question? K2, K4. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it is actually K2 because explain, it starts with explain. It's not K4. The level of the question is explain the different levels of learning in cognitive level. That means the student has to just explain the different levels of learning in cognitive level. We know in cognitive level, there are 6 levels of learning. So the student has to explain it, starting from the remember level, then understand level. So only an explanation is required here. So they are not applying it or they are not analyzing it. Okay. So this question is of level K2. My course outcome is of level 3 and my question is of level 2. Now, if I want to map this particular question of level 2 with the course outcome, which is of level 3, what should be the mapping strength? So we have defined a mapping scale where we have 4-point scale, 0, 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Since it's a K1, No, I'm asking the mapping strength. So this question, which is of level 2, I have to map with the course outcome of level 3. What should be the mapping strength? 0, 1, 2, 3. That is my mapping scale. Okay, answers are coming. 0, 2, 3, 2. Okay, 1. Okay, yeah. Okay, now we can see this question has got some relationship with the outcome. Outcome is of apply level, but my question is of understand level, not remember level, understand level. So the question is one level less than the course outcome. Okay, so in that case, we can give a mapping strength of 2 because 3 is the maximum. Okay, I will give you one more example, then it will be clear. Another question, using Bloom's taxonomy, prepare an application level question in your subject. Using Bloom's taxonomy, prepare an application level question in your subject. What is the level of this question? Level of this question. Okay, my God, it is not case 6. Case 6 means creating something, no? Here, the student is asked to prepare an application level question, the subject, using Bloom's taxonomy. That means the student or the participant is applying Bloom's taxonomy for preparing an application level question. Okay, that's all. So it's K3. Yeah, it's K3. Correct. And my course outcome is of level 3. My question is also of level 3. Both are of same level. So what would be the mapping strength? The second question, if I want to map with the CO, definitely it is 3. Okay. Course outcome is of level 3. And my question is also of level 3. So perfect match. Okay. And if the student got 100% mark, suppose the student got 100% mark for this question, then naturally 100% attainment for that particular question. Okay. Mapping scale. Okay, I will show you. So this is the way we can map the questions with the course outcomes or activities. I can show you the mapping scale once more. This is the mapping scale I'm using. 0, 1, 2, 3 is the weightage. If the relationship is nil, that means that if the question is having no relationship with the outcome, then we can give 0 weightage. If comparatively a low relationship, then weightage 1, moderate weightage 2, and significant weightage 3. So if the question and the course outcome are same levels, definitely we can give 3. Okay, and 1 level less, we can give 2, and 2 level less, we can give 1. If some relationship is there, we can give that weightage 1. Okay, and if there is no relationship, then 0. So this is the way we can map the questions with the course outcomes. I'll give you one more example to understand it in a better way. Another course outcome. What is the course outcome? On completion of this course, the participants will be able to analyze the questions based on Bloom's taxonomy levels. That means if you are given 100 questions, if the participants are able to analyze it, okay. So that means this is of the 4th level. Yeah, level 4, K4. So this is analyze level outcome. The course outcome is of level 4, analyze level, because the participants will be able to analyze the questions based on Bloom's taxonomy levels. So it's 1 level up than apply level. Okay. So this is my course outcome. Now what is the process? To attain this course outcome, I have to conduct certain learning activities and also to assess whether the participants have attained that outcome. I need to have assessments. Suppose I have a question like this. for the assessment. Suppose there's a question in the question paper. What are the different levels of learning in cognitive level? What are the different levels of learning in cognitive level? So what is the level of this question? It's only K1, no? Remember level. The action verb starts from what? So what are the different levels of learning in cognitive level? That means it's a level 1 question. And my course outcome is of level 4. So what should be the mapping scale? My question is of level 1 and my course outcome is of level 4. So what is the mapping strength? 0, 1. Yeah. Yeah, most of you have responded for 1. Definitely we can give 1 because there is some relationship with this course outcome. This question has got a low relationship, we can say, with the course outcome. So we can give 1. The second question, using Bloom's taxonomy, prepare an application level question in your subject. That means, what is the level of this question? Again, already we have discussed, it is a level 3 application level question. It's a level 3 question and the course outcome is of level 4. Course outcome level 4 and the question level 3. So what is the mapping strength? Yeah, we can give 2 because the question is 1 level less than the level of the outcome. 1 level less. Okay, so we can give 2. So this is the way we can map the activities or assessments. If you are the same way, if you are conducting an assignment, check the level of the assignment. If it is an application level assignment and if our CO is also application level, you can give 3 as the mapping strength or maximum significant. So this is the way we can map questions and activities. I hope this is clear for all of you. This is level 2 mapping, activities and the questions or assessments mapping with COs. Okay. So this is clear. And here also we are using Bloom's taxonomy. So the important thing is every faculty should be thorough with the Bloom's taxonomy concepts. Then only we can do all these things in an easy way. And if possible, you can have a small formula also for this mapping purpose. Most of the cases you can use this formula. It's very simple. Level of the question divided by level of the outcome. If you want, you can write level of the question divided by level of the outcome into 100. Level of the question divided by level of outcome into 100. Most of the cases you can use that formula. Maybe in the beginning, no, you can use this formula, and later on when you become an expert, in less than 10 minutes you can map all these questions. You will not have a tedious task. So here you can check the first one. Level of question is 1. Level of outcome is 4. So 1 by 4 into 100. 1 by 4 into 100 means 25. And that 25 falls in the interval, the mapping scale, the interval 1 to 50%. So 25 falls in the interval 1 to 50%. And for that, the mapping is 1. But for the second question, you apply that formula, you will get 3. So most of the cases you can apply the formula, and some cases maybe some difference. Okay. Now we will pass on to the next level mapping. Before that, see, for example, this is only an example where we have 15 questions for a continuous assessment, internal exam. Suppose we have 15 questions. And each of the questions you can map with the different COs. If there are 5 course outcomes, first question you can map with a particular CO, second question with another CO, and you will get a table like this. This is the table where each of the questions are mapped with the COs. or level 2. Now, coming to the CO-PO mapping or CO-PSO mapping, both are same. Here, what you can do is, suppose we consider one PO, PO1. Okay. First of all, identify the competencies related to PO1. So while designing the PO, what all things you have to do? Identify a graduate attribute. For example, communication skills. It's very easy. Communication skill is a graduate attribute, and you have to identify the competencies related to communication skills. And when we write PO, we start with an action verb, then list all the competencies, and finally the context. Okay. So here, our PO1, it may be communication skill, or it can be modern tool usage or something like that. You can list all the competencies and take one CO, for example, CO1, and check how many of these competencies are addressed by this CO. Suppose we want to map CO1 to PO1, consider all the competencies related to PO1 and check how many of these competencies are addressed by the course outcome number 1. If 40% or more than 40% of the competencies are addressed by the CO, you can give 3 mapping, the significant level. And if it is between 25% and 40%, you can give 2. Between 5% and 25%, you can give 1. And if it is less than 5%, you can give 0. So why we are considering 40% here? Because POs are more generic. Okay. So we can say the COs, we cannot say all the competencies can be addressed by a particular CO. Okay. So this is the process by which we can map COs with POs. But by practice, you can do it without considering the competencies and all. Maybe in the initial stage, you may find some difficulty, but maybe by practice, each of the COs, while seeing it, we can just map it. And one thing more I want to add, like even if there is slight changes in the mapping scale, it will not make much difference in the attainment calculation. Because when we implement OB in a proper way, we need to have a lot of activities, or even we can add OB only activities. So it will not make much difference if there is some slight changes in the mapping. Okay. So this is the way we can map COs with POs. So we'll get a table like this. You can see there are 9 POs in this example, and there are 5 course outcomes for a particular course. And each of the course outcomes we can map with the different POs. You can see the mapping strengths. Some of the course outcomes do not have any relationship with that respective PO, so we'll get 0 there. In some cases, 1, 2, and few cases we have the mapping scale is 3 because it has got significant relationship. The same way we can map COs with the PSOs. So for PSO also, you can check how many of the how much it is related to the PSOs, each CO. Here you may find more relationship because PSO is for a program. It's a program specific outcome, and the courses which will be related to that particular program. So more relationship will be there for the COs and the PSOs. Okay. So we'll get a table right there. This is the way we can conduct the mapping. So first one we have seen the level 2 mapping, where we have the activities and the questions mapped with the different COs, activities and assessments. And level 1 means COPO and COPSO mapping. Okay. So now we will pass on to the attainment calculation. If it is okay for everybody, we will pass on to the next topic, that is the attainment calculation. If we have any doubts, we can clear it. Otherwise, we will go to the next one. Okay. So I hope this is fine for you.
If you have any questions, you can put it in the chat. I will take it.
Should every course outcome be mapped? Okay. Every course outcome we can map with the POs and PSOs, but the only thing is the relationship may change. For example, we cannot map every CO with every PO. See, for example, if you have 5 course outcomes and 10 POs, one CO can be mapped with 2 or 3 or 4 POs. Otherwise, for the remaining POs, relationship may be 0, nil. So in that case, you give 0 there. But every CO you have to map, but the relationship may be 0 or nil in some cases. Can we analyze? Yeah. Even if 2 or 3 POs are not mapped with the particular COs, it is okay. But when we complete a program, for example, a 3-year program, I mentioned around 150 course outcomes will be there. So proper representation should be there in that case. Okay, that we will discuss in this attainment calculation. That we will discuss, and there are some more questions, I think. Okay, if 1 or 2 POs are not mapped at all for a course, for a particular course, it's okay, but for the entire program, it should not be like that. Then how health activities manage CO and PO as per the new education policy and multidisciplinary studies health activities. I didn't understand what you mean by health activities. Like yoga, okay. Okay, if yoga is offered as a course, definitely you may have a course outcome. Or maybe some value-added course or add-on course, you can have this course outcome for that yoga. Then properly you can map with the POs. Otherwise, you can consider an activity and you can have an activity outcome that also you can map. Can be analyzed by can be analyzed by not clear. Okay. Okay, fine. Now we will see how the attainment calculation can be done. So the attainment calculation. This is not an easy process. I will do one thing. I will try to explain it in a proper way, because when we go for accreditation purpose, when there is a peer team visit, the peer team will ask every faculty member, what is the process of calculating the attainment? So you should know the process, but manually it may not be possible. There should be some tools that we will discuss later. Okay, so I am skipping some of these introductory slides. Already we have seen all these things. Okay, what is the difference between the traditional system and outcome-based education? Okay, everybody knows the traditional system, it is teacher-centric, whereas the OB, it is student-centric. Okay, that is a major difference. Then the traditional system, importance on teaching and content, whereas in OB, importance on learning and process. And the traditional system, knowledge-driven and rote learning, whereas OB, learning ensures knowledge and performance. And this is the paradigm shift. As faculty members, before going to the class, the traditional system, we will think like this: what should I teach today? Okay, in the coming section, what should I teach today? That is what we will think. But in the OB, we should think like this: what should my students be able to do with what they learn? Okay, this is the paradigm shift. What should my students be able to do with what they learn? I hope most of you have seen this maybe on the internet. Okay. What is this actually? You can see more learning happens when we teach others. Okay. More learning happens when we teach others. 90% of learning will happen when we teach others. And I hope this is true for all of us as faculty members. We started learning more when we started teaching. Then if you practice doing something, 75% of the learning will happen. And through discussions, 50% of the learning happens. Demonstration, audio-visual, reading, and you can see only 5% of the learning happens through lecturing. Okay. So the OB process, there should be a paradigm shift from teaching to learning. So what should be the learning activities? When we go for a proper OB implementation, most of the institutions, they will be looking for the attainment calculation to satisfy the accreditation team. But the most important thing is the processes. How we identify the innovative teaching, learning, assessment activities. Okay, what are the learning activities? That is very important. And before going further, just I have a question for you. What is the average attention span of a student nowadays? What is the average attention span of a student? Can anybody respond? There are a lot of studies. 25 minutes, 10 minutes, okay, 50 minutes. 7 minutes, okay. Okay. And in a recent article, I have read only 8 minutes. That is the average attention span of a student. So our sections are maybe 60 minutes or 90 minutes for some cases. Okay. So if we can include more learning activities for experiential learning, then definitely our OB implementation process will be good, we can say, in the proper way. So, now, I will share a Mentimeter for your response. That also will be useful for the coming section. So we will get some inputs. I want your response in that case. Just 1 minute. I've shared a link in the chat box. We'll share once again. Some of the participants have shared a screen. I hope. So I have shared a link in the chat box. Just go through that link. And you can give your responses. So strong pillars of a teacher. Or, what are the qualities of a good teacher? You can mention it there. Those who are on YouTube, you can go to menti.com. That is a website for Mentimeter. We are using Mentimeter. So you can go to menti.com and there you have to type a code also. So there are two ways of responding to this question. One way is go to the link which I have shared in the chat box. Go to the link, you can respond there. Otherwise, you can go to menti.com, your browser, a mobile phone or laptop. Go to menti.com. There you have to type a code. The code is written on the top of the screen, 54617899. That is a code. So you can give your responses there. Strong pillars of a teacher or the qualities of a good teacher. There are some responses. Communication, knowledge, patience, commitment, empathy, motivation, updating to advancement, delivery of lecture, presence of mind. Yeah. Well mannered. So I will give you 30 seconds more. Please respond. Effective communication, communication skills, understanding, pleasing personality. Yeah. Management, hardworking, continuous learning, well-mannered, stability. Yeah. Discipline. Okay. Now the time is over. So you can see the responses. These are the good qualities of a good teacher. Okay. Now, can you classify these attributes broadly into 2 or 3 areas? Or what are they? Can you classify these attributes? You have suggested so many attributes, qualities into 2 or 3. Okay, 3 areas. Broadly into 3 areas. Then what are they? Anybody? You can type in the chat. Okay. Qualities. Okay. These are all qualities. All these are qualities. Can you divide it into 3 areas? I can give one. Knowledge. Okay. Knowledge is one. Okay. Okay. Cognitive skills, interpersonal skills, okay, effective commitment. Commitment, all this comes under knowledge, skill, attitude. Very good. Okay. Knowledge, skill, attitude, or we call it ask, attitude, skill, and knowledge. Attitude, skill, and knowledge. So we can classify this into 3 areas: attitude, skill, and knowledge. So can you connect it with Bloom's taxonomy? The first section, Dr. Sunil Job has mentioned it. Cognitive domain, affective domain, and psychomotor domain. Okay. Cognitive domain means related to knowledge. Then affective domain related to attitude, and psychomotor domain related to skills. So these are the three domains Bloom's taxonomy, which we have seen the first day itself. Actually, the program outcomes suggested by UGC and by NBA, you can classify into these three areas. Okay. Anyway, good. I want one more poll. Already some of you have responded for this one. The same link you can use. The same link you can use, or those who are using your Mentimeter, the browser, you can go to Mentimeter, menti.com, and you can use the code there. You can give your response. So what is the question? Which activities or assessments is more suitable for OB? We have discussed that there is a paradigm shift from teaching to learning. That means more learning should happen. And we were discussing all these things. And based on that, what is your understanding? If you want to implement OB in a proper way, where we should focus more? Okay. I'll give 30 seconds more. You can give your suggestions. I think you can give 3 responses. First one will be your priority, then second, third. Okay. So giving more importance for project, then internship, then case study, seminars, assignment, and last is for exams. Okay. Okay. So now the voting is over. Time is over. So this is the response. You can see more importance for project, more importance for case study, more importance for internship, seminar, assignment. Now, out of this, there are 6 areas. We can see activities or assessments. Yet some is the last one. Okay. So if you want to implement OB in a proper way, you need to have more importance for continuous assessments, because project, case study, internship, all these comes. And the continuous assessments, seminar, assignment, everything. Okay. So you are convinced now. Now my job is easy. I'm more focusing on the processes, and again, trying to give you some insights, not just giving the principles or the philosophy. I'm trying to give you more insights. Okay, so that's fine. Now I share my slide. So, okay. So the 3 pillars of a professional is also same. We have seen that attitude, skill, and knowledge. These are the program outcomes or graduate attributes suggested by NBA for the engineering program. So we can broadly divide them into knowledge, attitude, skill. And one more is there, that is habit, lifelong learning. Okay, so today we were trying to calculate the attainment of the POs. So before that, we have to calculate the attainment of COs. That means if we are able to provide a score sheet like this for the students, this is an example of a calculation of POs. You can see for each PO, the attainment is calculated here out of 3. So at the end of this section, we will all of you will be thorough with the concept. Now, for this demo purpose, I'm using 9 POs. These are actually graduate attributes. We have to convert it into PO. Anyway, these are the 9 graduate attributes of our college, Marian College Kuttikanam. We have designed the POs based on these 9 graduate attributes. Okay. For the demo purpose, I'm using these 9 POs. This is an example of PSOs for a BCA program. This I have selected from internet. I have taken it from internet. So don't look at the way it is written. Just assume that there are 5 PSOs, program specific outcomes. And for one particular course called Introduction to Computers, it's a basic course, we have 5 course outcomes. Okay, so we have POs, PSOs, and course outcomes. There are 5 course outcomes here. The first one is identify the parts of the computer system, that is a CO. That way, we have 5 course outcomes. Now, there can be activity outcomes. We can have n number of activities for each semester. We can have different activities. So we can have n number of activities. Here we have defined 2 activities. One is the outreach, other one is the industry visit. We can have activity outcomes for that also, which can be mapped with the POs and PSOs. Now, for the calculating the attainment, first of all, there will be a predefined mapping scale. Already we have discussed about the mapping scale. Then we can have direct and indirect assessment methods, which can be used in preset proportions. So we can have direct assessments and indirect assessments. Direct assessment means the assessments conducted by the institution, by the faculty members. Indirect assessment means if there is a third party is conducting an assessment, that is an indirect assessment. Or if you conduct a survey among the students at the end of the course, at the end of the semester, we can have a course end survey where we can ask the student, in your opinion, what is your attainment? Out of a 4-point scale, you can mark the attainment. Okay, we can accept that one. That is also an indirect assessment. Then components of assessment may be different things, activities, like we can have semester examinations, regular internal assessments, n number of internal assessments we can conduct, other innovative continuous assessments, or activities, or events, or personality assessments. Anything can be can contribute to the attainment calculation. Now, questions in semester and examination get mapped to different CEOs. You have different CEOs. For all the questions in the semester and exam, we can map with the different CEOs. Other components may wholly or at rubric level get mapped to different outcomes. Other components means assignments or seminars or projects, everything you can map with the different CEOs. CEOs are in turn mapped to POs and PSOs. That is the level 1 mapping. Already we have discussed it. General activities may also be mapped to POs and PSOs. Activities we can map directly to POs and PSOs. CO attainments can be tabulated at the end of each semester based on student course, because a course will start in the beginning of the semester and will be over the end of the semester. So at the end of the semester, we can calculate the CO attainments, whereas POs and PSOs, the final calculation you can calculate only at the end of the program. If it's a 3-year program or a 4-year program, you can calculate POs and PSOs at the end of the program. Now, the same mapping scale we are using here for attainment calculation for this demo purpose. We have already discussed this one. It's a 4-point scale, attainment and scoring, everything. The interval, you can see 0%, 1 to 50%, 51 to 70%, and 71 to 2%. As mentioned earlier, the course outcomes already mapped with the POs. The mapping strength is given in the table. Similarly, if there are some activities, that activities also can be mapped directly with the POs. So you will get a sample program matrix like this. This is a samples program matrix. You can see the first column, which all the course outcomes are listed there in the first column. Again, coming to an example, like if you have a 3-year UG program, BCom program or something like that, then in one semester, you may have 5 courses, average 5 courses. Okay. Sometimes you may have more courses, but we'll take the average 5 courses in a semester. And there are 6 semesters. In 3 years, there are 6 semesters. And each semester, you may have 5 courses each. So that in 6 semesters, you may have 30 courses on an average. Sometimes it can be more than that. Okay, if there are 30 courses for a UG program, and for each course, suppose you have 5 course outcomes on an average, then 30 into 5, 150 course outcomes will be there for the entire UG program of 3 years. And all these 150 course outcomes will be listed in the first column. And each of these course outcomes you can map with the different POs and PSOs. That also you can see the mapping, the body of the table. And there are activity outcomes that also you can list there. But you are not doing it, maybe at one step, because suppose you're starting with the first semester. The first semester, you may have 5 courses. So each of the faculty in charge of that particular course, they will be mapping the course outcomes with the POs. So it may take half an hour in a semester to map the course outcomes of one course to a POs and PSOs. By experience, even you can reduce that time. Okay. So it is not a tedious task. And at the end of the 3-year program, 3 years, you will get a table like this. Okay. Now, the most important part is to have a CO-linked assessment plan. You have to design a CO-linked assessment plan. I will give you a simple example. This is not a complex one, but actually, it should not be like this. Okay. In the coming slides, I will explain more. I will take a simple example. In this case, for the final exam, that means for the semester end exam, 60% marks are allotted and 40% mark for the continuous assessments. Okay. In some cases, it can be 30-70. In some cases, it can be 20-80. So that proportion will vary depending on the policy of the university or the institution. So I'm considering an example where 60% marks for the final exam, substantive exam, and 40% for the continuous assessments. Now, the continuous assessments consider the activities like seminar. Suppose 4 marks I am allotting for seminar. And this seminar is mapped with the course outcome number 1. Okay. That means if I am designing the course outcomes module wise or unit wise, maybe CO1 will be related to unit 1. Okay, there are 2 ways of designing course outcomes. I think already Dr. Sunil Job has mentioned it. You can have it horizontally or vertically. Horizontally means unit wise or module wise, you can design your COs. For each module or each unit, you can have 1 COs. Vertically means for the overall syllabus, you can have 4 or 5 course outcomes. Okay. If you can do it in the horizontal way, it will be more easy for to design the plans in future and for mapping also. But in every case, it may not be possible. That depends on the course, the subject. So here, suppose the seminar topic is mapped with the CO1. So for attaining CO1, I will have different assessments or activities. And one of the activities is seminar. And the topic will be related to CO1. Assignment is another activity and the topic is related to CO2. The same way we have designed the various assessment activities. Okay, you can see it. And for final exam, I have questions from the entire syllabus. all the modules or all the units are covered in the question paper. That means we can map the questions to all the COs. Okay. So this is what the faculty has to prepare in the beginning of the semester. And if you can explain it to the students, because when we implement OB, you should be transparent. There should be a clear picture for the student also. What are the outcomes and what are the activities we are planning to do to attain the outcomes. Okay. Now, already we have designed the CO linked assessment plan. Now, suppose we are conducting the assessments one by one. First of all, seminar. For seminar, a particular student gets his score 40% mark. Score is 40% for seminar. So his attainment is 1, lower attainment, because from 1 to 50%, that scale, the mapping scale, you can see the weightage is 1. Okay, that is why the last column, the attainment is 1. Whereas for assignment, the student suppose scoring 85% mark. 85% falls in the last interval, 71 to 100%. So the attainment is 3. The same way we have the other COs. And we are not considering the semester end exam here. We will consider it separately. And for all other assessments, you can see the marks, the score of the student, and the attainment. Actually, now we are going to calculate the attainment. I already mentioned this is a simple example. I'm not making it complicated, only to understand the process. Now, how to calculate the attainment now? You can see CO1. It appears in 2 places, one for seminar and another for exam 1. And then final exam. Final exam we are not considering now. So for seminar and exam 1, CO1 is there. And for seminar, the attainment is 1, whereas for exam 1, the attainment is 2. So if you take the simple average, 1 plus 2 divided by 2, that is 1.5. That is the attainment of CO1 for this particular student for the continuous assessment. The same way, CO2, assignment, the attainment is 3. Group activity, the attainment is 3, again 3. And for exam 1, attainment is 2. So here 3 plus 3 plus 2 divided by 3, 2.6. We are taking the simple average. Actually, this is not the case. So I will explain it later, because you can see we have mapped exam 1 to CO1 and CO2. Then the mapping strength should be also there. Exam 1, suppose it consists of 10 questions. Each of these questions we have to map with the different CO1 and CO2. The mapping strength should be there. In that case, we have to take the weighted average. Okay. So that is the actual case. But for understanding the process, I'm just giving you an explanation on this simple example. The same way we can calculate CO3, CO4, and CO5 only for the continuous assessments now. The final exam, we will do it separately. No, this is the case with the final exam. If you are an autonomous college or a university, you will get the question-wise marks for the students. Okay. Suppose for a particular student X, I'm trying to calculate the attainment of the COs for the final exam. Suppose there are 25 questions in the question paper. Suppose there are 25 questions in the question paper, and each of these questions will be mapped with the different COs. Okay. Now I'm picking those questions which are mapped with the CO1, course outcome number 1. So which are the questions? You can see question number 1, 16, 18, 23, and 25. These are the questions which are mapped with the CO1. These are the questions which are mapped with the CO1. The remaining questions may be mapped with the other COs. So I'm not considering those COs now. Only I'm calculating the attainment of CO1 in this case. And after that, I will calculate it for CO2 and CO3. Now, the last column, you can see a weightage. Last column, weightage means 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3. Weightages are given. What is it? Question number 1 mapped with the CO1 with a weightage 2. Similarly, question number 16 mapped with the CO1 with a weightage 3. What is it? Already we have discussed. Suppose our course outcome 1 is of apply level. That means level 3. And my question number 1 is of level level 2. Then level 2 question I am mapping with the level 3 outcome. So in that case, weightage is 2. And my 16th question is of level 3. And suppose my CO1 is also of level 3. I can give maximum strength 3 there. So in that case, each question already we have mapped with the different COs. And for in this case, CO1. So the last column is the weightage. Now coming to the second and third columns. Second column means the marks obtained by the student. Question number 1. It's a 1-mark question. Suppose the student got 100%, 1 out of 1. Then question level attainment is 3. I'll repeat once more after finishing this. So question number 16, 1.5 out of 2. That means 75%. Again, my question level attainment is 3 because it falls in the interval 71 to 100. For question number 18, 50%. Attainment is 1. It falls in the first level. 1 to 50%. The attainment is 1. And for question number 23, 3 out of 5, 60%. So attainment is 2. Same way, last question 25. The 40% attainment is 1. Okay. There was a, can you please repeat again about weightage? Okay. Weightage means this is the last column. Suppose there are 25 questions in the question paper. Each of these questions will be mapped with the different COs. Now here I am considering only CO1 for this attainment calculation. Later I will calculate it for CO2 and CO3, etc. Now question number 1 mapped with the CO1 with a weightage 2. That means already we have discussed it. Each of the activities or assessments we can map with the course outcomes. That is the level 2 mapping. Already we have discussed it in the first section. Okay. So in the same way, the mapping you can do with all the questions or all the activities, we can map with the different COs. Question number 1 mapped with the CO1 with a weightage 2 means question number 1 will be 1 level less than the level of CO. Question number 16 mapped with the CO1 with a weightage 3 means question number 16 and CO1 will be of same level. Okay. And if you consider question number 18 to CO1, the mapping is 1 means question number 18 will be 2 level, minimum 2 level less than the outcome. Okay. That is the case. Now, here we are considering the weighted average. Question level attainment 3 into weightage 3 into 2 plus 3 into 3 plus 1 into 1 and finally 1 into 3 divided by 2 plus 3 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3. So this is a weighted average we have taken here. So this is the CO1 attainment for a particular student gets for the final exam. Similarly, we have to calculate it for CO2, CO3, etc. And I'll tell you one thing, you cannot do it manually. You have to use some tools. Okay, some ICT tool, then only you can calculate it. But you should understand the process. That is why I am explaining it. After that, I will definitely explain it with a tool. Then you will see how easy it is. Now, coming to the calculation again. Now, we have continuous assessment and semester exam. Okay, there are two components, continuous assessment and semester exam. So here in this example, for continuous assessment, 40% mark, and for a semester exam, 60% mark. That was our ratio. Okay, for mark list and everything, the ratio should be like that. But we have convinced that for effective implementation of outcome-based education, we want more continuous assessment, or we should give more weightage for continuous assessment. Okay, through the poll, all of you are convinced. We need more projects, more internship, more assignments, more seminars. Then only we can effectively implement OB. So for attainment calculation, we can decide the ratio. So how much weightage we have to give for continuous assessment for attainment calculation, and how many weightage we can give to final exam. For final exam. Okay, that we can decide. So in this case, I'm giving 80% weightage for continuous assessment and only 20% weightage for final exam. Okay, for calculating the attainment. And it will not reflect in the mark list. The mark list, you will have the marks obtained by the student. Everything will be perfect according to the university regulations. It will be there. But for calculating the attainment, I can change the ratio. Okay. And some institutions, they will consider 90% weightage for continuous assessment and only 10% for final exam. And even some affiliated colleges, for affiliated colleges, they will not get the question-wise marks. 100% weightage they will give for continuous assessment. Even that is okay. Okay, in this page, 80% for continuous assessment, 20% final exam. So for continuous assessment, suppose our CO1 attainment is 1.5. On final exam, it is 2.09. Here the weightage, according to the 80-20 is the ratio. So you can calculate 1.5 into 80 by 100 plus 2.09 into 20 by 100. So you will get 1.618. You don't look at the figures, maybe figures may be approximate, but the process, you should understand the process here. We are giving 80% weightage for continuous assessment and only 20% weightage for final exam. Okay, so we will get to the CO attainment. Now we have calculated CO1 for one student, CO1. Similarly, we have to calculate CO2, CO3, and all the COs. Now, coming to the direct and indirect assessment, and finally, we have to calculate that also. I will answer the questions once I complete this one. Then, for direct and indirect assessment, see how much weightage we have to give for direct assessment and how many for indirect. Because suppose we are conducting a survey among the students. The student will respond. They will respond about their attainment, their achievement. Okay. In this case, 20% weightage for indirect assessment and 80% for direct assessment. Even you can reduce the weightage for indirect assessment. You can give 10% for indirect assessment and 90% for direct assessment. Okay. Now you will get a value like this. For each course outcome, you will get a value. I've given some dummy values here. Only the process we can understand. These are the survey values. So 20% weightage for the survey values and for direct assessment, suppose these are the values. Then we'll get the final CO like this. Now, the process has to continue for all the students. Suppose there are 60 students in the class. For every student, we have to calculate it like this. Then you can calculate the average attainment. You can convert it into percentage because out of 3, we are calculating it. So when we convert it to percentage, it should be out of 3. Then we can calculate the batch wise, say how much percentage of the students have got more than 60%. How many of the students have got more than 80%. Likewise, we can calculate it. Then coming to the PO calculation. So after CO, now we can calculate the PO. So how to calculate PO? Already we have mapped COs with the POs. Okay, you have a table like this. Already we have discussed this one. This is the program matrix. Now, CO PO mapping is already done. Now, once if you get the value for COs, you can easily calculate the POs. For example, CO1, suppose your value is 2.12 and the CO1 is mapped with the PO1 with a weightage 2. Similarly, CO2 is mapped with the PO1 with a weightage 3 and the value of CO2 is 1.52. So we'll get all the values like this. Already we have calculated CO attainment. Now take the weighted average, 2 into 2.12, 3 into 1.52, etc. And finally, you take the weighted average and the last row, you will get PO1. Similarly, PO2 you can calculate. Once if you calculate CO1 and CO2, etc., the course outcomes, you can calculate it by using this table. The same way you can direct assessments and indirect assessment, you can give the percentage weightage. How much percentage or how much weightage you have to give for direct assessment and how much for indirect assessment, all these you can decide and you can have a policy and you can mention all these policies in your OB manual. Then for domain knowledge, an example, if you have direct assessment, it is 2.16, indirect assessment, it is 3. And according to weightage 80-20, you can calculate the final attainment. POs also, you can calculate like this for all the students. If there are 60 students in the batch, you can calculate POs and PSOs. You can have a table like this. Then you can convert it into percentage. And there are some other analytics you will get from here. Then institutional level values, average attainment level with respect to POs and PSOs. So every outgoing batch with percentage of students above various levels of attainment. So all these values you will get. We can conduct alumni survey from the students who have passed out of the institution at least during the last 5 years in terms of POs and PSOs. Okay, you can conduct a survey. The employer survey also you can conduct, and you can identify the gap and formulate action plans. So this is a continuous process. Based on the survey and the feedback, you can even change your curriculum. You can redesign your curriculum. You can incorporate the survey results in the POs and PSOs, the outcomes. Okay. So here, this process, what does OB aim to address? What do we want the students to know or understand or able to do? The skill sets. How can we best help the students to achieve it? As a guide, how can we help it? How will we know whether the students have achieved it? That is assessment and evaluation. And finally, we have to close the loop. That means through various surveys, feedbacks, we have to again continue the process. Okay, now we will discuss with a tool. If you use a tool, what are the analytical reports and all? If in future, if you want to contact me, this is my phone number and this is my mail ID. If you have any doubts, you can contact me. Okay. Now we will pass on to the a small section that is on analytical reports. And if you use a tool, how we can calculate the values that we will see now. And before that, I think there are some questions. We will discuss that one. We will write a grading system in finelets. What is the significance of CO attainment 1.618? 1.618 CO attainment means out of 3, we can see it is more than 50%, no? That is good. Okay. Relative grading system in final exam, how to give weightage. Based on the grade also, you can give you can adopt some policy again. Okay, I already mentioned, no, if there is slight changes in the mapping, it will not affect the overall attainment calculation. If CO1 level is K3, can question map to CO1 be of higher level as CO1 level is K3, can question map to CO1 be of higher level as K3? Okay. That means the level of CO is less than the level of question. I understand like it. Is it okay? If the level, okay, if the level of question is higher than level of CO, then you can give full mapping, because you are trying to attain your students should attain that outcome only. If the level of the CO is application level, and if you have a question of analyze level or evaluate level, you can give full mapping. So that is why we always advise every institution to design your CO on the higher level. So what you are trying to teach in that particular module or a unit, okay, or what the students be able to do after studying that module. You have to put the higher order, that's CO. Okay, I hope we can move to the next one. I will show you how we can calculate it by using tool. But is that right? A student will not be prepared for higher level question. This question is related to what? I said no, you can design the COs in the higher order. Is related to that. Dr. M.R. Ramakrishnan, you asked a question, but isn't that right? As students will not be prepared for higher level question. That to your answer. Okay. Yeah. See, for our exams, we will fix the maximum marks of 100. Okay. And in that case, we cannot assume that every student will score 100% mark. Some students may be failed, some students may get pass mark, and some students may get 60% or 80% mark. But we will always pitch the maximum mark as 100%, 60 or 75 or whatever it is. Okay. The same way, the course outcomes, when you design the course outcomes, you check that unit or module, then put it in the higher order, the higher level. And we are not assuming that every student will get 100%. So that I will explain now. With this tool, we have to hit some target for the attainment calculation. So there you will understand it in an easy way. Otherwise, we will discuss it again. So I will show you a tool for calculating the attainment. Here, this is an interface of a faculty login. All the courses related to that faculty will be listed there. And just click manage link. So you have to upload the course outcomes. This is what you have to do. You have to upload the course outcomes, and along with the course outcomes, you have to fix a target for each course outcome. So that we assume that 60% attainment is enough for a student. So if we put the target as 100%, we cannot say that we cannot assume that every student will achieve that target. So you can fix a target on the lower level initially. If you start with the implementation process, maybe 50% or 60% is good. For every course outcomes, you can put a target also. So you can upload the course outcomes and the target. You can download a template, Excel template, and you can upload it. So this is already uploaded. After that, the CO PO mapping You can see the course outcomes are listed there. The POs are already uploaded. For each PO, you can see there. Each of these course outcomes you can map with the different POs. So this already mapped. You can download a template and you can map it there. It's very easy. The same way you can do the PO, CO, PSO mapping, and you will get a summary. Here, you can check whether all the POs are properly represented by COs. There was a question like you can fix a threshold. If there are 150 course outcomes, you can say that at least 20% of the course outcome should be mapped with the a PO. Minimum 20% or a minimum 10%. That also you can put in the policy. So here you can see in this particular PO, almost all the COs are mapped. And here only 2 COs are mapped. So in that case, you can revisit the mapping, and if possible, you can have another CO. You can find whether some other CO also can be mapped. Otherwise, in that case, you can design some add-on course or value-added courses. So the NAC accreditation process, they will ask the need analysis of designing a course. So you can say that to attain the outcomes, the graduate attributes, you can have add-on courses. So these analytics are available. Then, as I mentioned there, a CO linked assessment plan you have to design. See all the questions already mapped with the taxonomy levels and COs. Probably on last day, I can show you some other tools where even if you can use some ICT tools for this mapping purpose, even you can use AI also now. All the questions, the internal exam and external exam already mapped with the taxonomy levels and the COs, respective COs. Then you can see other activities like assignment. If you conduct an assignment, you can mention that assignment, and if there is a criteria for evaluating that assignment, criteria or rubrics, you can mention the rubrics here. And each of the rubrics you can map with the taxonomy levels and outcomes, course outcomes. Or if you don't have any rubrics, directly that assignment you can map with the taxonomy level and course outcomes. Okay, this is the mapping. Similarly, every activity, every assignment, assessment, you can map with the respective taxonomy levels and the course outcomes. This is again a one-time activity, a CO linked assessment plan, which you can upload it using a template available. This is a template. Using that Excel template, you can upload it. So in the beginning of the semester, all these activities will take 1 or 2 hours maximum, mapping and everything. And then whenever you conduct an assessment, you can enter the marks here. For each of the activities, you can enter the mark. Again, using an Excel template, you can enter the marks. And finally, you will get the attainment. Without a manual calculation, the software will calculate the attainment. You can see this is an example where the course outcomes are calculated out of 3. CO1, the first column, out of 3 for each student, it's already calculated. CO2, CO3, and the class average given in between the columns. Similarly, we'll calculate the taxonomy level attainment, PO attainment, and PSO attainment. All these values are available. PO attainment for this particular semester is calculated out of 3. So altogether, at the end of the program, you will get the actual attainment of POs. And we'll get a lot of reports. These are the analytical reports which we can use again for accreditation purpose. We have is the target. It's given the first row. Then the average of the batch, average attainment of the students in the batch, that is given in the second row. Standard deviation. And this is the percentage attainment. This is again useful for attainment, for accreditation. We can see 90% of the students have attained 60% target. We hope is the target of 60%. So that is enough for CO1. CO2 also 90%. But for CO3, in this case, only 17.5% of the students have achieved that 60% target. That means there is something wrong with the CO3. So in that case, we can add one more activity. That can be an OB only activity. You can conduct one or two different activities, and you can enter the mark. And in that case, if you can bring every student to the desired level, or we call it assurance of learning. Okay. And this particular activity may not reflect in the mark list. It's only for calculating the attainment. You can have n number of OB only activities. Okay. So at any time, you can conduct such type of activities and you can add the marks there. Okay. So this is the way we can calculate the attainment. It's very easy. From the faculty point of view, you need to upload the COs, map the COs with POs and PSOs, have a CO linked assessment plan, and finally conduct the assessments and upload the marks. You will get the attainment. One question. Does the tool calculate the weightage by itself? Of course, after the formula, expect to does it do the calculation automatically for COs questions? It will calculate automatically, but the mapping and everything we have to do, and you have to upload the mark. Okay. You will also get a split target. Like if our target are different, it is 60%, this is the percentage attainment. If our target were 50%, what is the attainment, percentage attainment like this? And there is a difficulty index report. That means that depends on the difficulty level of the questions. Okay, that also we will get it. And I will show you some more analytical reports in the HOD login. So this is actually a software itself. This is a software we have developed and is being used by many institutions. The HOD login, again, will get many other reports. For example, if you properly do the process, I mean the mapping and everything, and every faculty, if you are thorough with the Bloom's taxonomy levels, all these reports are accurate reports. Only if you do the process in a proper way. I can just show you some reports. This is an example of a progression report. You can see a blue line and a yellow line there. The blue line represents the batch performance over the semesters, if there are 6 semesters. The yellow line represents the performance of the student. So this is the comparison, the performance of the student in comparison with the batch performance. Bloom's taxonomy level, the attainment, then the PO attainment, how the student is progressing in comparison with the batch. This is useful for PTA meetings. Not only for PTA meetings, for accreditation purpose, this is useful. Okay. So there are a lot of other reports available. I will show you one more too. This is a report of a particular student. His performance in the second semester in comparison with the first semester. You can see more upward trends in the second semester. So a lot of analytical reports available here. Upward trend the second semester compared to the first semester. Whereas if you go to the third semester, the same student, you can see more downward trends in this case. That means there is some problem with the student. Maybe it's personal problem, or it's a family problem, or a problem with some particular topic or subject, or with some faculty member. So that this particular student requires some counseling or some remedial action should be taken by the faculty, by the department. So all this comes under outlier reports. So we'll get an outlier report where the list of the students' performance changes like this will be there in the outlier report. The same way we will get a slow learners report, advanced learners report, etc. So all these reports will get only if you do the process in a proper way. Means the mapping should be proper. Then the understanding of the OB process is very important. Okay. So only for calculating the attainment, many institutions, they do like that. There are some institutions, they want me to explain the attainment calculated by somebody else. Even there are consultants, they will calculate the attainment without knowing the concept of OB. So nowadays, the implementation of new education policy, more importance is there for outcome-based education. So in future, definitely more weightage for OB. And for the NAC accreditation, the new manual will come immediately. And they are focusing more on outcomes and impact. So more importance for OB will be there. And I can tell you, when we implement OB in a proper way, the quality of the students will improve. Employability will improve. In tomorrow's section and tomorrow and day after tomorrow, you will get more insights about the process and what is the relevance of OB. Okay, with some experts who have already implemented it, and by Dr. Suresh Nambudiri, they have conducted a survey, and probably he will be explaining the report on the survey. So this is the way we can calculate the attainments. And again, some reports are also available, like you'll get reports like slow learners, outlier report, batch average. Okay. For each course, what is the class average? Everything we will get. So all these reports are useful mainly for accreditation purpose. So I think there are some questions. By the degree of work that will be added to teachers' workload as the result of the implementation of OB. Initially, maybe maybe more workload for the teachers. But if you properly do it by using the help of Generative AI, that in the coming days you will see, you can use Generative AI so that you can reduce your workload, and at the same time, you can focus on some innovative activities. And even with the help of Generative AI, in 1 or 2 minutes, you can generate a question paper that I will show you the last day after having some sections on the ChatGPT and all. Then you can generate course outcomes. In 1 minute, you can generate a course outcome once the syllabus is there. You'll get proper course outcomes. So while designing the curriculum, it will be easy for you. And again, you will get innovative assessments. You can have innovative assessments by using Generative AI. That also is available. Okay. So you can reduce the workload in that case. Okay. Any other questions related to this? Okay. If there are no further questions, we will be winding up this section because I have to explain 2 more things that is one related to the accreditation, how OB is used in the accreditation that we will be discussing on the last day because it requires more inputs. Okay. Definitely, there will be revision of the not only the entire thing, but you will hear from the experts the relevance of OB and some case studies of implementation. Okay. Okay, then thank you all for patiently listening to this section. Now it's almost 8:40, 8:45. Okay. And the last day, if you have any further doubts, you can come out with the doubts. We will clear all the doubts there.
Thank you, Mentor sir. Thank you for that excellent session. Tomorrow we will be having the topic on OBE, best practices and case studies of a Canadian university. This will be taken by Dr. Thomas Verghese. Okay, so we will expect you to see you at 7 p.m. sharp tomorrow. This session will be on best practice and case studies of a Canadian university. And also, please note everybody, we have been getting questions on if you can register for LMS. Yes, you can. The registration for LMS is still open. What you need to do is, I'll put the details here. You need to make the payment to the bank account of rupees 400, and you need to send the payment copy, the screenshot of the payment proof to the WhatsApp number posted there. If you have any doubts or any doubts or support for the LMS, you can call or WhatsApp this number. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for your valuable time. We will see you tomorrow again at 7 p.m. Have a wonderful evening.